Are we working? Okay. Obrigada. Okay. And some applause for Luciana, who's done such a great job putting the show together. She deserves it. Hopefully she'll come out later and take a bow. But I hope that we're going to have an exciting conversation here today. And we're just gonna speak about what these guys did together with I think a really interesting series. I don't know if everybody's familiar with it. It's called Gaby. And, or Gaby? How should I be saying it? Gaby, right? Gaby. Okay, Gaby. Just like it looks, G-A-B-Y. So before we start getting into what you guys actually did, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves? And Joel, why don't you start?
Oh, sure. So as you heard in my bio, I've been a music supervisor for close to 20 years. I started doing it when there was probably only about a dozen of us doing it at the time, and now it's, at least in the United States, has grown to a giant industry where the universities have colleges devoted to music business with an emphasis in music supervising. So I've worked on projects ranging from live theater to television to over 100 and some odd films, and have worked on budgets from $1 to close to $100 million, and so I like what I do.
And tell us about a few of the other things that you've done other than Gaby.
Oh, sure. So as I think they said in my bio, I was the head of music for Trimark and Lionsgate Films, and so I music supervised all of the films for Lionsgate for about a decade, including I worked on Monsters Ball, I worked on Crash and the Saw series. I've worked on 4 out of 7 Leprechaun movies, so I have to. You all know Leprechaun, right? Leprechaun series? How do you say leprechaun in Portuguese? So yes, so I've like I said, I've worked on just about any kind of project as a music supervisor that you can imagine, and the way I came up, a music supervisor is a department head who's in charge of everything from the budget to the legal work to the creative work. And I was called upon to come down to Brazil to work on Gaby, and met these guys.
And before I get to these guys, one more question for you, Joel. How did you get called upon to be part of this project?
Oh, okay. So my office is in Los Angeles, and downstairs from me is a company called Chatron that is mostly an animation company, but one of the partners is from Sao Paulo, and she came down. They were making trips down here to develop business in Brazil, and pitched the idea for Gaby, and it got accepted and picked up, and they came back and realized that they really didn't know how to produce musical television, live performances, and they didn't really know many people in Brazil who could do it either, and so they called on me to kind of help out from the technical side and kind of give them, advice about what to do. But they, again, like I said, they met these guys who took care of most of it.
Okay, so let's get to these guys. Okay, first of all, Lui, it was great to meet you earlier, and I'd love for you to tell everybody here a little bit about your career.
Ok, boa tarde. Eu sou o Lui Coimbra. Eu basicamente sou músico, arranjador, instrumentista, todas as áreas, especialmente em show e discos. Eu nunca tinha trabalhado para televisão, mas já trabalhei para trilhas de filme. E, enfim, o Jules, que eu conheço através dos musicais, que é um especialista em musicais, me precisava de uma pessoa para fazer a parte de estúdio no primeiro momento, porque ele não tinha experiência disso, eu já tinha produzido vários CDs, me chamou. A partir daí, eu comecei a fazer uma relação intensa com ele, acabamos dividindo o trabalho no decorrer do processo, e é isso, tá bom?
Okay, that sounds good. And Jules, tell us a little bit about your background and your career and how you ended up getting into this TV show. Yeah. if we can get a working mic.
Here. Hey.
Here. Okay, good.
Hi, everybody. Well, I mainly come from musical theater. That's what I've been doing for the past 10 years. Well, in big productions, I've written arrangements. I'm also an actor and singer. I've been in production as an actor too. My story with Gaby is funny because one of the producers, Mara, she went to see one of my musicals. One of the musicals I was a musical director too. Tudo por Popstar, and she liked my work, and she called upon me and said, "Yeah, how would you like to do a television show?" It was the first time I was doing that too, so it was a funny story. And I, called him to help me out, and then Joel came along to help me out even more, you know. But my story professionally comes from musical theater, mainly.
Yeah, and can I say, when I was in Los Angeles, and I was talking to Karina, who's the producer from Sao Paulo, I was asking, well, what help do you have there? And they said, well, one of the producers has somebody that they met doing children's musical theater. And I was like, well, I don't know if it's going to translate. I mean, it's a different kind of medium, different skill set. Yeah, totally. But it was a brilliant move because, you know, finding somebody who had a skill not only musically and working with musical theater, because ultimately that's what this show was in a way, but being able to work with kids and get the best performances from them turned out to be a stroke of genius.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're like, in the end, we were doing it all, right? I was taking part of the creative process, compositions, and rehearsing the kids and preparing them, teaching them how to sing, teaching them how to play. And Lui was doing the studio part, right? He was the technician and he was also a composer, so we were composing things together. So it was like we took on the whole job, all of the sectors included, right? We took care of that, so it worked out fine.
Yeah, it worked out great. Turned out to be like a really good team. You know, I came down a little bit worried about what I might find as far as, you know, the capabilities to do this, because I'd looked at a lot of other Brazilian TV to see if anybody else was doing scripted television that also had a live musical performance element, and, you know, incorporating a lot of the elements that we do all the time, which is, you know, being able to do live recording on set, do time code synced playback, to do, you know, recordings on the fly basically, and be able to, you know, get the best performances. And so when I came down there and kind of met the team, I'd looked at the actors and I'd heard some of their demos for performances, and I was like, okay, we need to make sure we find the right team, you know, and help develop the talent, as they say. And it turned out to be great. It was, you know, I came in to, you know, it turned out to be mostly do a lot of technical advice and really kind of, you know, show ways of solving problems, and was down for, you know, 2 weeks working with them intensively, and they're on to season 3, you know, and handling everything.
It's I think it's great to bring it up that none of the kids of the show had experience with music before. None of them had experience with singing. So like we had a musical show to do where all the kids didn't know how to sing. You know? So
yeah, when I saw my
kids, but they were great actors. They were chosen by their acting skills, and it turned out fine as a perfect cast for that. But they didn't have experience with that, with singing, so we had to start from scratch with them, you know.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Maite was in her demos, I said, you know, let's get her in with a vocal coach right now, because she's good, but she needs to be amazing. So they started working with her immediately.
Yeah. So it seems to me that musical theater was probably the exact right choice. If the right person to bring in at the right time. So let me ask a question before we go back to this. I just want to back up for a second. How many people here, give me your hands up, that know the show Gaby? All right, that's about half,
you guys
I'd say.
kids?
That's good. Yeah, how many here have kids?
About the same.
There we go.
Ones, yeah.
All right, well, before we move forward, I thought it would be a good idea if maybe we show a clip and show people the show. Do you want to give them a little bit of an idea of what this clip is?
Sure, sure. Do you want to do that in Portuguese?
Yeah. Então, só para entender o roteiro, para quem não conhece,
A Gaby é uma menina aqui do Rio de Janeiro, né, classe alta, mora com a mãe num super AP na Praia do Leme, cheia das amizades, com 12, 13 anos, e a mãe resolve ir para Nova York e fala com ela, você vai ficar na casa da sua avó na fazenda. Ela quase morre do coração, não quer de jeito nenhum, mas é uma imposição da mãe. Quando ela vai para a fazenda da avó, ela dá de cara com toda a história do pai dela, que já é falecido, que era um grande cantor sertanejo. Então, o que acontece? Ela toma contato com a raiz dela sertaneja, começa a lembrar ela pequenininha cantando com o pai e vai descobrindo toda a musicalidade que ela tinha dentro dela. Então, basicamente é isso. Aí começa a acontecer as histórias dela descobrindo a musicalidade dela e toda a vida no campo completamente diferente da vida dela na cidade. Essa foi a primeira temporada, que é basicamente o que nós vamos nos referir aqui hoje, que foi quando conhecemos o Joe, certo?
Bom, depois disso, o Gaby teve mais 2 temporadas, né? A segunda temporada foi ano passado. Basicamente, a história da segunda temporada era a Gaby percebendo que ela não era tão boa assim, então ela encontra um professor de música que vai treinar ela para realmente, se ela quer seguir a carreira de música, ela tem que estudar música, tem que seguir, enfim, são passos a dar para chegar lá. E a terceira temporada, que acabou de estrear semana passada, é a Gaby passando por um reality show, tipo um The Voice, que é Canta Aí, e ela nesse reality show ganha, e aí ela vai, enfim, vai desdobrar a história para frente agora. Então, são 3 temporadas de sucesso, né? Bem, o Gaby foi indicado ao Emmy Kids, foi indicado ao BAMF, ganhou o prêmio Monet, é um seriado bem legal nesse sentido.
Did you say this is basically one of the first scenes that we shot?
Oh, the scene, yeah.
The scene, we're going to show a clip right now, and this is, I think, the first musical scene that we worked with. And we shot it like one of the first days of shooting, and we recorded her singing live. I think, were you there conducting?
I was conducting her behind the camera because she was like, she started out as not a singer.
She was very nervous.
Sure. And she had like 4 sentences to sing. But I said, okay, just sing it a cappella, and then I'll orchestrate over that. But I was like conducting her behind the scenes, so she would keep the tempo. It was funny.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll use what's known as a click track that'll be like a thump that it's sub-audible, that you can't hear, and we didn't have that. So Jules was here conducting her, keeping tempo and making sure that her performance was basically directing her performance. And then Lui came in afterwards and brought in all the instrumentation and slowly coaxed out what you'll see if you want to show the clip. This is a scene where she first finds her father's diary and reads the words to a song that he used to sing to her when she was a child.
Yeah, she remembers the lyrics.
This is where like the spark first happens.
Yeah, let's show it. A gente pode mostrar a primeira parte do vídeo?
At the beginning.
O brilho dessa estrela.
Look at that handsome man.
É tão difícil não olhar para trás, deixar as coisas que não voltam mais. Um passo dado, um rumo incerto, 1 minuto, palavras. O mundo gira, gira sem parar, a vida tira a gente para dançar. E no fim das contas, tudo um dia volta pro mesmo lugar.
It's Lui playing the cello.
Cheiro de café no grão, manteiga em pedaço de pão. E o barulhinho tão gostoso da panela de pressão. Andar descalço pelo chão, dar asas à imaginação. Tudo que eu preciso é de um amigo e de um violão.
Ok, pode parar.
Passa esse violão pra cá.
Pode parar, pode parar. Pode parar o vídeo, por favor.
Mas depois?
Expulsar o estudante.
Pode.
Stop, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the next. No. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, basically, this is one kind of scenes. Right? This is the first scene, as we were talking about. She's singing a cappella. We had a couple of those throughout the show, where the actors would sing just a cappella without instrumentation, and then I would put it in before afterwards. There's another kind of scenes where the actors would sing and play instruments, like this next one. I'm going to show it here.
Well, one thing I want to say, one of the reasons that I was really interested in coming down and working on this was I'd seen some Brazilian television where a lot of times where a scene like this might happen where the people were singing and it would be all pre-recorded in playback. So you would watch them and it would all be lip sync.
You can tell.
Yeah, you could tell. They would just push play on something and the actors would lip sync along, and it doesn't always match and it doesn't feel alive. It doesn't feel like you're in the room with them. And I said, I want to do this, but I want to make sure we do this in a way where it's going to feel a lot more alive, a lot more natural. And so, that's what they did. And they did a combination of, a lot of times, the live stuff that you're going to see. Another one like this where he plays the guitar and they both sing completely live. And it is just charming that way. A lot of times where it's canned and it's pre-recorded, you lose that kind of magic. But then you can get something like this. But then other times where it's a little bit bigger, I mean, they did a bunch of techniques where they would also do some pre-record, but also use the production sound and mix them together to give it much more live feel. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to sign on to this, because it was totally interesting to me. I love doing that kind of work.
Falar uma coisa. Uma das coisas mais interessantes que a gente teve com a experiência com o Joe foi justamente falar das várias formas de você gravar uma cena musical, né? E aproveitando a estrutura que você tem ou que você não tem, o ator que canta ou que não canta, qual é a melhor forma de você fazer aquilo. E normalmente a melhor forma é você fazer das duas formas. Uma coisa que ele falou uma vez que eu sempre me lembro, a gente sempre conversa sobre isso. Então, ter uma boa gravação do ao vivo e fazer a dublagem e depois na pós-produção você escolher qual é a melhor forma. Normalmente a melhor forma é quando você tem as duas coisas boas. E aí você tem a verdade do som ao vivo e a beleza, a magia que você pode ter com o trabalho de estúdio, né? Isso foi uma coisa muito bacana que a gente aprendeu com ele.
It seems to me like doing it this way is giving it much more of a sense of realism. It feels much more real when you see these clips, that it really looks like there's a daughter and a father actually singing to each other, rather than something that is just a big production and there's a couple of actors singing. And I think, was that a choice that was made by the writers, or was that a choice that you guys came up with together? How did that choice happen?
I know from my side at least, that was my initial discussions when Karina and Aaron came to me and they asked me if I could help them. I said, well, I want to do this, but I want to do this in a certain way, and there's really techniques to doing this, and I want to do this so it feels real. And Karina, who writes all of the episodes, she was like, absolutely, I want this to feel really special. It's about a girl who's lost her father and is finding him again, so she wants it to feel real and heartfelt. So she went along with that, and so when I came down with him, I mean, obviously, Jules is from live theater, so
right.
He understood that naturally. It was much more of a technical thing that I was bringing.
Yeah, in my opinion, if we could do that in all the scenes, he would be perfect. But we had like this limitation, talking about the cast. So, for example, in this next scene we're going to show, they were singing live and playing live. But I had brought a pre-recorded version of that song in case it wouldn't work out.
Yeah, that was one of the things I said. We always, even if we have to record it, we're about to shoot this scene, bring out the microphone, put them in a room, record them in case, he's got a frog in his, if he's got a cold or something like that, we'll have backup. And then we can always go back.
Have it up to sleep,
we can go back to the studio when we do the final mix. We'll have the clean vocal. So make sure you always have that in case you want to do the playback. But if you can get away with this and you have, singers and actors that are that good, then try and do that, is what I've said.
Yeah. In other examples, we tried to do, for example, live, but we couldn't. So in the end, I have to dub the actors afterwards over the images. We did that a lot too.
So you want to take a look at the clip now, just to give an
yeah,
example of
sure,
what we're
sure,
talking
sure.
about?
Oh, this is totally live. There's no studio, there's no tuning, there's nothing. Only the father and the daughter playing each other.
Era uma vez, dia talvez.
No meu coração que só tem saudade. Quando uma porta fecha, outra vai se abrir.
Sei que serei feliz.
Vou partir, mas sempre vou estar também. Nesse nosso tempo de recomeçar.
Sei que vai brotar novo fruto.
Essa nossa caixa de reinventar surpresas.
And then it comes in.
Right.
Ok, pode parar.
That was adorable.
It's, you know, it's not perfect. It's like the performance is really good if it's not perfect, and that's what makes it so good, you know?
It's
Exactly.
real.
Yeah, you really get the feeling of intimacy.
Yeah,
And that's what's
it's
really
like you're in the room with them.
Exactly.
You know, that's what we wanted to do.
And I think that really works. Being able to go from, say, the live shots to something where, you know, when it's necessary, you build it up like you did with the strings. Yeah. But it's good to start with that sort of like heart that really works on an emotional level.
Yeah, yeah. And we were lucky enough to have, for example, Rodrigo, the actor. He's a very, very good guitar player. He's an excellent musician, you know. The girl, the small girl, Natalia, she is just a natural. She had never sung in her life, and she can do that, you know, in pitch. And she was 8 by the time, so we were really lucky too.
So I'm going to digress for a second here. I'm just interested, you know, because your background is musical theater, but how did you get this talent to get this out of children? Because it's not easy. I mean, this is something we were talking about. You know, it's not the easiest thing to get children to, you know, sing and sing well live.
Yeah, well, I was trying to teach them, like, the experience I had. For example, where to put your voice, head voice, chest voice, how to go to high notes, how to sustain low notes. But I was telling them more than that. You know, for example, there's like the lyrics. So I was trying to teach them how they were supposed to feel about that song.
Right.
How do you feel about that? What's your feeling? What does the scene tell you? You know? So from that, I would teach them technique. So that's where you get the truth out of the actors.
Yeah, and working with children too is, you know, it's hard. You want to, you know, prep them and get them ready, make sure they understand it, and work with them before you go into the studio, because you can't. Children aren't able to do it time after time and after time again like you can with a grown-up and sit there and do it and expect them to do it. They'll get tired and sick of it, and they'll just want to leave for the most part. And it's cruel, you know.
Yeah.
So
and if you stuff them with,
you have to.
with
It's in the
techniques,
preparation and connecting.
They freak out.
Does anybody have any questions so far? I just wanted to stop for a second to see if there's anybody who wants to ask a question. Okay, we'll come back to the audience in a second. But I wanted to switch gears for a second and talk a little bit about the practicalities of actually getting the work done. And one of the things, we spoke a little bit before the presentation here, and one of the things you said, Jules, was that when you guys started, you had like a stable of writers who you were working with, and you found that this didn't really work for, you know, technical and practical reasons. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, we were with a bunch of things to do, with not so much revenue and not so much time. You know, so in the first season we had 15 songs to cope with, right? And I called upon 4 composers.
I'm going to interrupt really quickly. That was the thing that I wasn't used to in television. The television I'd worked on, they would say, okay, we've got this episode, here's the 2 songs for this episode. Going into it, they had said, we want 15 songs right now before we even start shooting, which is a usual thing from what I would understand for Brazilian television.
Now, let me ask a question. Was that 15 songs for the season or 15 songs for the episode?
Season.
Oh, for the season, okay, for the first season.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had a lot of work to do, so I decided to call upon 4 composers, friends of mine. Actually, 2 of them, I didn't know they were from Goiás. They were an indication from the producers, you know, because we were working with sertanejo, so it's not really a genre I know about, I listen to. So these 2 from Goiás and 2 friends of mine from Rio. And I divided the songs. It was 15, so 4, 4, 3, 3. And we were working together. In the workflow, it was really difficult because they would send me the songs, I would analyze it, I would make some adjustments and throw it back to them, and then they would throw it back to me, and I would send the songs to the Globe, to the broadcaster, right. And they would throw the songs back to me with a lot of notes and notes from the producers in Panorâmica. So it was a really lengthy, slowy process, you know.
But very fast as well.
But I couldn't be slow. I had to be fast, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we coped. We did the first season, and for the second season, me and Lui, we are composers. So I told him, why not bring matters to our own hands? So we started composing the songs for the show for the second and third seasons, and it really worked out better.
Mm-hmm.
We could do it in really faster. We understood what the show needed. We understood what we had to do in terms of lyrics, in terms of melody, in terms of chords, what the guys liked, what the kids could sing.
And how did it work? And so it was a lot more efficient, obviously, that you didn't have to go to like 4 steps every time you wanted to do a new version or like adjust the song.
Yeah.
And made it much easier from a practical point of view. Yeah. And I would also imagine from a creative point of view, it was much better.
Oh yeah, sure. Do you want to talk about it too? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We understood everything. Like after the first season, we were really experienced, you know. So it was easy for us. For example, the screenwriters, they would give us how do you say? Como é que fala? O briefing, yeah, the brief. The screenwriters would give us the briefing to each song, you know. So we would like discuss with them. So this song is gonna appear in this episode. This song is gonna be composed by this character. In Gaby world, all of the songs are original, right? There are songs which are specific of the story. They pre-existed to the story. The characters know these songs. They are part of the folklore. And there are songs which are composed by the characters. Yeah, by Gaby, by her friends and stuff. So we understood that. You know, we understood the background of the characters. So in the second season, we were like, we just knew what to use, what to do. It was easier for us.
And one thing that I thought was really cool as well was the fact that, you know, for the first season there were 15 songs, but they would reuse them, you know, in different episodes for different kinds of scenes, and the different versions of each of the different songs was, you know, it used the same exact words, but it did something totally different with their execution. Like they had Gaby singing, was it the punk rock scene?
Oh yeah, it's in here too.
Yeah, she does one of the stable of songs like a punker.
Yes.
And it totally takes
As
a
mesmas
different
canções aparecem cada vez com um personagem, com um arranjo diferente, numa cena diferente, cada vez um cantando, às vezes
com letra
duo,
diferente.
em trio, outro personagem cantando com arranjos completamente diferentes, mas o mesmo universo, as mesmas canções.
Yeah. And a choice we made actually, it was some people say, oh, the lyrics of Gaby, they're so intense for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was our choice, you know, not to break it down so much. We decided to use a lot of poetry in the lyrics, as you heard here. The first season has really beautiful songs, actually, melody-wise and harmony-wise and lyrics-wise. It was our choice to do that too.
That's excellent. And as you moved forward in working with the script, working with the actors, the characters, were you getting any input on the lyrics, or was it just really just working on the music side of things? Working with the lyrics too?
Yeah.
Well, you were mostly, it was with Karina, who was the showrunner and writer, would kind of give you like, I want to have some of these lyrics in there, and
yeah, she would point out words. I want to have these expression. I want a song to talk about this.
Sometimes you have a meeting with her just to discuss the
we had a lot of those.
So she would give you a general sort of idea of what the emotions were, what the scene required, and then you would fill in the lyrics as well as the music.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes this process was like, for example, I was telling them, some songs, they went back and forth 5 times, 6, 7 times, until the final version, you know.
Porque não só a roteirista e a produção, isso é uma coisa que para mim, especialmente, foi muito nova. A gente faz uma música, manda para a roteirista, que é a primeira que tem que aprovar. Aí ela fala ok. Aí a produtora, a companhia produtora, no caso a Panorâmica, tem uma reunião lá e dá a sua opinião. Pode aprovar ou não. E depois vai para o Globo, que é o canal, que vai aprovar ou não e vai mudar, mas aquela palavra não pode, tem que mudar aquela, só faltou mexer no acorde, não pode essa nona, tem que tirar. É muito específica, às vezes, a escolha do canal. Então, não é uma coisa que só a gente escolhe e a gente gosta e está ok. Depende de várias instâncias. Isso foi muito novo e, às vezes, demorado, né, para a correria que tem que ser.
So in the process, Glooby being involved is really interesting to me, because usually it's just the writer or the writers and the composer working together, but you had to, because of the nature of the program, because it's a children's program, you had to submit to approval for everything you did.
All the time.
Yeah, and they're really strict, which is a good thing. They have their standards. You know, they know what you can do, what they want to broadcast, what they don't. And it's nice for us to have it clear, and they're really clear about that. For example, sometimes a word, you cannot use briga, you have to use, I don't know, this. You cannot use planta, you have to use árvore. It's down to this, but I think it's fine. It gives a clear idea.
Yeah, it's
and
funny.
Know, at the end, most of the times, it became better at the end of the discussion.
Yeah.
You know,
It was
you
better.
have to turn out your own.
It allows you to refine it and really make it clear,
Most of the
right?
times,
Yeah, sometimes less is more.
Yeah. And okay, so I've got a question for Joel then, because I'm just curious what your opinion is on it. Like, how different was this from the process that you deal with in the U.S.? Was there a lot of difference, or not that much, or?
You know, each project I work on is very different.
Right.
So this was, you know, really exciting because it was, you know, it's a very small crew. It's very fast production, and, you know, everybody is really in it from the grassroots, like trying to work really hard together. I mean, so it's like sometimes you'd be working on a studio film, and you're like, okay, well, I have to book Mary J. Blige for this studio, and she has to be brought in her Maybach to thing, and we've got to, you know, make sure that the water is the right temperature and stuff like that. And there's a lot of that kind of politics to work with. Whereas here, we had, you know, people who really were making it up as we went along, because I said, can we get a thumper? Do we have the time code playback? Do we have these? And a lot of things weren't available, so we had to be really adaptive. And, you know, I don't know if we have any footage in here, but we were on set. We only had certain access with the kids because they can only work a certain hours. And so we would have to go on set to do some of the pre-records, and the only place we had to record was we set up your laptop with a little microphone
in a container,
in a box car, basically, and recorded there on set, because that's the only place that we had to do it. I mean, other times we were in a recording studio recording with, you know, very professionally, but other times you have to do it on the fly. It's production, it's television.
Yeah, and in this sense, Joel was our guardian angel, I can say.
do we have?
Yeah, sure. Talking about that, we have the next footage. It's exactly that. We have 3 footages that I separated. The kids recording, and then how the scene worked out. Pode dar play aqui.
Okay,
play.
The magic of television.
Pode dar play no vídeo, por favor.
Se cuida, viu, mister?
Toca mais pouco.
Okay. We have this too. This is a clip. It's all studio. There's no live recording. we couldn't use it actually. We tried, but it's all studio.
Yeah, the kid was learning guitar, wasn't
Fora
he?
d'água,
Yeah.
barco sem farol. Procuro me encaixar, aqui não é o meu lugar.
Me sinto peixe fora d'água, barco sem farol. Procuro me encaixar, aqui não é o meu lugar.
Oh, that's her. This is Barra do Piraí.
Is this a combination of live set recording for her?
Yes.
Okay. So they did a combination where they were recording it as well and playing it back.
Yeah.
Okay, so the girls are live.
Yeah, her percussion.
Yeah,
But her voice isn't.
Right. Okay.
Cantar, peixe fora d'água.
Yeah, and it's simple like
O
this.
brilho dessa estrela.
Okay.
This is
Pode
the
continuar,
clip.
pode continuar.
Yeah.
This is in the container.
This is her dubbing another actress who didn't sing. The actress who plays Gaby when she's
Yeah,
small.
we brought her in here to sing like a 4-year-old.
Yeah. That's how it worked out in the scene.
Que ilumina mais que o sol. Todo amor cresce em mim, tempo de ficar feliz.
Eu lembro dessa música.
Okay, this is the dupla dinâmica again.
This is off of an iPhone of showing the scene behind the scenes. So you can see the camera right there.
Yeah.
And the reflectors. But they're singing totally live and we're recording them live.
Now how it went. So it's all live, voice and guitar, and then we put instruments back there.
E como é que ele faz?
It's great where they have actors who can do this, and then when you get into the post-production you can go and add stuff to it and augment it and just add to the feeling.
Hoje a luz da lua vai te iluminar, essa energia vai te dominar. Por mais que o sol exista, a lua também brilha.
Sol exista, a lua também brilha. Hoje a luz da lua vai te iluminar, essa energia vai te dominar e todo mundo assiste a beleza desse eclipse.
E aí, gente, vamos cantar um
Pode
pouquinho?
parar, pode parar.
Okay.
Yeah. In a scene like that, where the kids sing into a microphone, it's even easier because we can record her through the microphone,
Right.
So
live.
what he's saying is that we can, you saw her in the studio where we laid down the tracks and you can fix strange notes and you can play it back. But if somebody's on the set, that's what I said. I think one of the first things we did with Maite was when she auditioned, or she sings for the school, right? And so we did a playback, so it's playing back through speakers so she can lip sync. But we told her, completely sing out, because we have a microphone in front of you, and it's going to be live, so it will be recording what you sing. So, we can throw it away if it's terrible while we're singing live, but if there's little elements in there where you get like a breath, or you get something where she changes it a little bit, you can grab that and cut it, splice it together with the pre-record and make it feel alive, even if it's not totally alive.
So it's an augmented reality, in other words, that you can do. So, when you're working with the kids, when do you make the decision, or is this something that's made by the writer, or is it a combination of when you're going to use the people singing live versus taking something from the studio. How do you go about making the decision for that?
We have some meetings to plan all these musical scene. So we discuss a lot, and we choose each scene what's going to be, you know.
I mean, depends on the complexity of the scene, and
a lot of
it
it is
depends
location.
on the actors too, if they're going to be able to
really
do that
difficult.
live.
We just go to the studio and make it at the studio.
It's really easier for us to do it in studio.
Of course.
Easier, you know.
Yeah.
But it's much more beautiful and real if you do it live.
Yeah.
So we cannot take risks. For example, it's a matter of timing too. If you have like 1 hour to shoot the scene, you got to shoot it in 1 hour.
Yeah.
You know, we cannot take risks. You cannot, okay, do it 5 times. Okay, it's not good. Let's do it again. No. So it all depends.
That's one of the things that you always have to have. Even if you want to shoot it live again, you always have to have a backup, because if you do the scene and you're left with, you know, not usable audio, then your only recourse is to go back into room, which we did, I think, for 1 or 2 scenes where they had to go. We had them like fix a note here or there, and they would watch it on screen and sing. But if you have to completely redub somebody and have them lip sync and watch themselves on screen, it's very technically hard.
Yes, especially for kids.
For kids, especially, yeah.
Yeah, and we were really lucky because Maite, the main girl, she did that perfectly. She's a really dubbing genius.
She actually seems quite talented. And you know, I mean, so when you're when you've got a time, sort of, when you've got a difficulty in terms of time, when you're looking at, you know, say we've only got an hour to get this done, it's always good to have that fail-safe, right? Do you always make sure when you're working with a scene or working with a song that you've got something in the studio that you can use just in case, or have there been, you know, some times where you were just going so quick you had to use what you had?
There were these times, actually.
Okay.
A couple of times where I didn't have anything, so I was relying on the actors, on their performance. One of the scenes, it was her singing and her friend was playing guitar. So what did I do? I said, just don't play the guitar. Let her sing freely, so I won't have like these 2 sounds together. I'm going to have her voice clean. So that's the only material I have to work with, you know?
Right.
And then I did that, but usually I had it all prepared before.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
we did a lot of live scenes for the first season, second and third seasons, where the producers, they decided to put on choreography and bigger musical scenes. So I was doing mainly studio versions. Only for the simple scenes I would go live, but not always.
So that sounds, I mean, that sounds pretty normal, that you would have something where if it's a bigger scene, you would have them go into the studio and record everything beforehand.
Yes.
But do you feel like you're losing the authenticity? Because we talked about that with, you know, some of the live stuff. Do you feel like you lose the authenticity? Or if you don't, how do you keep from doing so?
You know, so yeah, we do lose, okay? But in all, for example, the big scenes, the big musical scenes, for example, I would have it all pre-recorded, so the kids would dub, would do the dance and stuff. But at the end, I would get the boom mic, and I would say, okay, so everybody here in a circle, let's just record it live, singing, you know, like, just do it for me. And then I would have like 1 or 3 tracks of that, so I could use over the studio recordings.
Do you want to show this one? I think that's what you did on this
Let's
one,
do
right?
it.
Yes.
This next clip.
The next one, yeah, sure.
And it's also, when you have this many people singing along and stuff, a lot of times it just doesn't make any sense to try and, you know, mic them all live like that, because if one messes up, then you don't have clean audio. And
yeah.
It would be beautiful, but we haven't
Yeah.
this stuff.
In this scene, we start with the kids singing a solo, so it's completely studio. From the half to the end, we have them singing all together, and that's where we put the live audio thing.
Aí vocês podem ver a diferença. Quando entra o som direto, o som ao vivo, aí fica de verdade. Enquanto está no estúdio, está tudo lindo, as pessoas, a maioria do público não percebe, mas quem tem um olhar mais refinado vai perceber a diferença. É sempre muito melhor com o som ao vivo, não tem jeito.
Sure. Pode dar play, por favor?
Opa! Tem pratinho?
Venho como o vento, revirando esse lugar. Venho
fazer cantar.
Veio como um trem, transformando esse lugar. Veio em movimento, removendo céu e mar.
Veio como a chuva, semeando todo lar.
Veio à tona me fazer brotar.
Ela veio pra ficar. Ela veio pra ficar. Ela veio
Forte como o vento, leve como o ar, grande como o tempo, em todo lugar. Forte como um
trem em noite de luar.
veio em movimento.
Veio a toda me fazer sonhar.
Now we have both. You can even use the monitor where the sound is coming from.
Ela veio pra ficar. Ela veio pra ficar. Ela veio pra ficar. Ela veio pra ficar. Ela veio.
Pode dar pause. Pause.
Pause.
Valeu.
I learned a word just now. Okay.
Pause.
Pause. So that was really interesting. I mean, when you're doing these scenes, I mean, how much time do you actually have to get this all together when they're shooting, to work on the music?
To work on the music?
Yeah, to work on the music when you're doing all of this while they're going through the script. Yeah, this is what I want to know. How do you work through that?
Well, it depends. For that one, the music that's a scene from the second season, right?
Right.
But the music's from the first season.
Okay.
So the kids already knew how to sing it. So all we had to do was just to record the arrangement. You know, when we got to the shooting, actually they spent like 5 hours recording that scene, but not music, just the images. It was really difficult because it was in Urca. It was a windy night and stuff.
4 hours for the camera, and 3 minutes for the music.
It sounds pretty typical.
He's being honest.
That sounds pretty typical. And how has the reaction been from the public? Has this gone, over the last 3 seasons? Has this gone into soundtracks, other things that have come out of it? Not just the show, but other musical items.
Well, there's the CD. We did, Gaby, and the kids' response was awesome. Kids love the show. They think they can relate to Gaby in a lot of ways because she's Brazilian. She lives in a reality that's close to them. She's not from another country. She sings in Portuguese. So they can relate to her. She's living in a farm in the middle of the country. So it's nice. Yeah, it's a great response.
Anything to add?
An album, with how you say in English? Álbum de figurinhas.
I'll say it in Portuguese, it's okay.
Não, tem um álbum de figurinhas também da Gaby. Enfim, foi um projeto muito bem sucedido nesse
crianças gostam muito, né?
Nesse sentido.
Okay, let me just see if is there anybody who has any questions for these guys? Okay, great. I'm going to bring this microphone down there. Oh, there's a mic?
There's a mic there.
Okay, so there's a mic out there, so I don't have to do that. Tell us who you are and what your company is and your question.
Ok, boa tarde. Meu nome é Felipe Zenícola. Eu sou da BR Tracks, uma plataforma de sincronização. Queria perguntar para vocês, se vocês me permitem fazer 2 perguntas. A primeira é mais de ordem técnica, para solucionar a captação em cena, né? Que vocês gravavam sempre em cena, usando ou não posteriormente. Queria saber o que funcionava mais em termos de escolha de microfone, se lapela funcionava, ou tinha muito barulho, se era boom. Enfim, se vocês puderem falar um pouquinho sobre, não sei se também é a parte de vocês, né, a parte de captação, puder falar um pouco sobre esses desafios e o que tendia a funcionar mais em relação a isso. E a segunda pergunta é, vocês foram falando dos diversos papéis que vocês exerceram. Você não só arranjou, mas também tocou cello, você fez preparação das crianças, também depois veio a compor as músicas, enfim, todo o trabalho que ele também fez. Isso é uma coisa que eu não sei se vocês tinham a dimensão desse volume de trabalho desde o princípio. Queria saber, a minha pergunta é mais em relação orçamentária, como é que isso, quais os desafios vocês tiveram na hora de orçar esse serviço todo, se foi uma coisa que vocês foram dividindo as tarefas, se a produtora chegou e falou, a gente tem tanto, vocês topam fazer tudo isso por isso? Vocês puderem dividir para a gente essa questão também.
Sim. Eu posso falar da primeira parte, você fala da segunda pergunta? Vamos falar em português, então. Bom, com relação à captação, o que a gente tinha no set eram os lapelas das crianças, né, e o boom. Era isso. Então, o lapela era limpo, era um som razoavelmente bom, né, nos números musicais. Eu sempre pedia para as crianças não se movimentarem muito, para a camisa não roçar na lapela, para ficar um som limpo, né? E o boom, como eu falei, né, tinha o som da cena sendo gravada, e depois que a cena terminava, eu reunia todo mundo em roda, gravava ali com boom, com todos os lapelas, e era assim que a gente usava. Sempre deu tranquilamente.
E por causa do violão?
O violão também era lapelado, dependendo da cena. Nessa, por exemplo, que eu mostrei do pai cantando para a filha, esse violão foi captado pelo boom. Entendeu?
Normalmente o som do boom, dentro da estrutura que a gente usou, o som do boom era de melhor qualidade, né, do que os lapelas, porque não eram lapelas top, né? Assim, uma coisa que a gente sempre conversou com a produção, se tiver uma 4ª temporada, a gente tem um sonho, é de ter um equipamento específico para as cenas de música. O nosso ideal seria, uma vez por mês, vamos gravar 10 cenas de música. Então, você tem um staff, todo mundo com inia, os microfones específicos para a cena de música, porque para a cena de música é muito diferente. O diálogo pega o boom, arrasa no diálogo. E na música nem sempre, porque eles precisam, às vezes, ouvir um playback para cantar junto, e o boom, e aí esse playback já atrapalha o som do boom. Quer dizer, é uma coisa muito específica. Então, uma das funções, eu acho, da direção musical é convencer a produção às necessidades técnicas específicas para uma cena musical. Porque eles ainda não se convencem, porque no final a gente faz um estúdio, todo mundo achou, está lindo. Está lindo, mas quando realmente a gente consegue um som, um production sound, como ele nos ensinou, bom, isso já parte de um outro parâmetro, né? Quando você vê os trabalhos americanos, especialmente, você parte de um som já captado ao vivo em outro nível. A gente aqui ainda não está conseguindo fazer isso, né?
Yeah. One of the things that I had said was that, a music supervisor is the head of their music department. And part of the responsibilities is to really fight for the best result for music. So what you're saying is really say, look, this is a musical show. We need really a concentration on, what we need to get you the best results. And if that's, better microphones, we were talking about, editing equipment on set, so that if you needed to make, if you needed to make a track on the set ready for playback, you had that capabilities to do it on the fly. And the producers have been pretty responsive to that. But again, they have a lot of other departments to pay for, so they can't always get everything. But having a bunch of techniques in your back pocket, both using the lav mic and having the boom, but then also on some of the scenes where she's singing into a microphone, having the live microphone is very directional, and it'll keep even playback. If you position the speakers in such a way that it's not pointing at the microphone, you'll be able to get a really clean sound. So it's just matter of different techniques of doing it, and make sure you cover yourself.
It's just getting as many potential tracks as you can.
Yes, exactly. É o que puxa um link sobre a sua segunda pergunta, né, que você falou da questão de nós dividirmos as tarefas, né? Eu acho que essa escolha foi metade porque seria muito mais fácil, né? Porque tanto eu quanto o Lu, a gente tinha as habilidades todas para fazer isso, né? A gente tinha por semana 6, 7, às vezes 8 cenas musicais para fazer. Entendeu? Então, se tivesse que ficar naquele processo de mandar o material e receber, ou chamar os músicos, gravar, nas cenas principais, certo, mas na maioria das cenas a gente resolvia entre nós. Então, foi muito mais rápido trabalhar assim. E, por um outro lado, o orçamento do Gaby nunca foi um orçamento que desse para então era um orçamento que a gente tinha ali fechadinho, né? Então a gente conseguiu fazer tudo dentro disso, mas se tivéssemos que contratar milhões de profissionais, seria muito mais custoso e muito mais demorado.
Acho que a gente pode falar uma coisa específica que ele perguntou. Na primeira temporada, eles apresentaram um orçamento fixo. E a gente pegou aquele orçamento e fez em cima daquele orçamento. Na segunda temporada, nós propusemos um orçamento para elas e eles aceitaram. E foi até confortável. Nós tivemos um pianista contratado, a preparadora vocal, foi bem legal. Na terceira, vieram com um orçamento que foi menor ainda. E tudo bem, hoje em dia, quando pedem um orçamento, eu falo assim, quanto é que você tem para fazer isso? E você tem que se adaptar para fazer em cima daquele orçamento. Não adianta você se perguntar, eu vou falar $1 milhão, que é o que eu sonho. Mas você vai fazer em cima da realidade. O que não dá é para você aceitar um orçamento baixo com a expectativa de você ter uma orquestra sinfônica na trilha. Não, não tem orquestra sinfônica, mas um bom sampler pode ter. Então é uma questão de adaptação de uma coisa a outra. Isso a gente
a nossa orquestra, só para falar sobre a orquestra, a nossa orquestra era um violinista e um cellista. E você escuta uma orquestra sinfônica, mas nós gravamos com 2 músicos.
Aí a gente foi dobrando. Não é uma orquestra sinfônica, mas ficou bonito, umas cordas bonitas.
Yeah, you have to be, with a lower budget, you have to be very creative, you know, problem solving, so it doesn't sound like you're being cheap. If the low budget, you have to know, like that was part of the discussion when we were talking about what the orchestrations were going to be for the music. I said, you know, you can get an amazing amount of emotional kind of feelings out of just a few instruments, and it's much more kind of intimate and it's much more sensitive, and if it's done right, you don't notice that you don't have a full orchestra playing. In fact, a lot of these cases, a big orchestra would be wrong. It'd be the wrong creative decision. So you just have to know how to creatively, you know, with the limitations you have, to make it sound like $1 million.
So Joel, in terms of this doing more with less, is this something that you find more often than not when you're working on productions?
More and more often, yeah. The way that the film and television is going is, you know, you've got most things, there's so much more content going out there, but not a lot more money, so it's getting thinner and thinner, and then you have the giant productions that have infinite money, and they, you know, will spend it definitely. But when the lower budgets ones are getting thinner and thinner, and they expect more and more because, you know, with the technical tools we have, you can actually do it. And so by being good at saving money, a lot of times we're shooting ourselves in the foot because we show that we can actually do it. So they go, okay, keep doing it.
Yeah,
that's the point.
That's a sad truth. Yeah.
So they were saying, you know, you guys are doing such a good job with so little money. Here's less.
Yeah.
Do even better.
We need to hire a few actors this season that we didn't have before. So we know you guys could do a great job with Pro Tools, right? That's basically it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, being able to do this for something that seems so musically driven, I mean, it's good. But on the other hand, it also looks like the producers may be shooting themselves in the foot a little bit if something is so musically driven, not to give you a little bit more money.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I think it's a matter of discussion, right? It's in the first place when we started out in the meetings, we were talking about that too. What the expectations were,
right?
You know, for the season. What scenes, what's going to happen? Oh, this is the amount of money we have. Okay, it's possible, you know.
Right.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's a matter of being clear.
Well, that's the thing, is that you can always say, I will do my very best to get this, but with what you're telling us to do, I think we should eliminate this scene. Is that okay? And then they say, oh God, no, I have to live with it. And then I said, you have to put some money back in if you're going to really want that. You know, because literally I will do everything. That's a music supervisor's job to do everything.
It's in all the areas. For example, I heard the director cutting scenes or adapting scenes a lot. It was written like a big musical choreography scene. We cannot do that. It's impossible. So they would like shrink it down to 3 actors, and it happens to everybody.
Yeah, you just have to adapt.
Yeah. Well, that's the main thing, being able to adapt to this and make it look so good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. Do we have any more questions? Questions? Yes, go ahead. Tell us who you are.
Boa tarde, Genildo Fonseca, Circuito Musical. Eu não conhecia a série, fiquei realmente sensibilizado. Parabéns pela criatividade, pela sensibilidade, pelo bom gosto. Trabalho com um dos artistas, acredito talvez seja o mais consagrado e a melhor referência da música infantil no Brasil, que é o Toquinho. Há mais de 40 anos ele produz canções de bom gosto, respeitando a inteligência da criança, como vocês fizeram. Entre outras peças maravilhosas, ele fez Arca de Noé 1 e 2 com Vinícius de Moraes. Depois veio canção A Casa de Brinquedos com Mutinho e Canção dos Direitos da Criança, baseado nos direitos da ONU. E essa peça agora estreou essa semana em São Paulo, no Teatro Frei Caneca. Bom, o que eu acho importante é que haja esse frescor, essa renovação para a gente, porque no mundo infantil a gente vê muitas coisas explodindo rapidamente que desaparecem, que não tem realmente uma efetiva qualidade, né? Então, eu sinto que há isso em vocês, que vocês procuraram, com o mínimo, fazer o máximo, né? Vocês se transformaram em produtores, técnicos, músicos, enfim, fizeram um trabalho absolutamente impecável nesse sentido. A minha pergunta: quando a gente produz um trabalho como esse, a gente quer sempre que ele se perpetue. Esse é o sonho de qualquer compositor e tal. Essa série vai para outros países? Ela se transforma numa peça de teatro, por exemplo, que fica fixo no lugar, ou é apenas um show que vai percorrer? Essa é a pergunta.
Bom, eu vou te falar o que eu sei sobre isso, tá? Bom, o Gaby foi vendido para a Itália, né? E foi levado como produto para uma feira, eu acho que foi na França, né? E 15 países se interessaram, eles estão em negociação. Como vendido como sim. E tem planos, tem projeto para se tornar um musical e um longa também, né? Então, enfim, vai dar filhos. Isso é muito interessante, né? Esses produtores da Itália, eles compraram a série porque existem duas maneiras de você vender. Você pode vender o produto, ser filmado lá, e você pode vender como foi aqui para ser dublado. E é esse o caso. Eles compraram um produto como foi feito aqui e vai ser feito lá. É muito legal isso.
Can I say, to the talking about being sensitive to children for this, I think when Jules, you said, when you wrote the lyrics or worked with the lyrics, how you didn't, make them, bubblegum and fluffy, and there's actually some real depth to it. Because it's a story about a girl who loses and then finds her father again, and follows on his path, and that's at the core, and it's you have to give a little bit of, there's tragedy in there. You want to keep it light and everything like that, but it won't feel real if you don't treat them like real people. And I think that's what you guys did with the music.
Yes. I worked in musical theater with a director. She's called Karen Ascioli. She's been doing plays for kids for the past 20-25 years. And she always told me, don't you ever underestimate kids. Don't you do that. They're smarter than you think. They can grasp much more than you are given to them. Mm-hmm. So I've always kept that in my mind when I work with this, especially with Gaby.
Yeah, and I think that really comes through from the end product. You can really see it, that there is a depth in everything that the children are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's see. Next question from the audience? Anyone? No? Okay then, no more questions. All right, let's see. So what else do we want to talk about?
What are you guys planning for season 4?
Yeah.
Well,
I guess we just started with season 3, right? Yeah. So you can't spoil it too much.
Vejam, Gaby está no ar, no Globo, todo dia às 8 horas. Segunda a sexta. Legal, no sábado tem um corridão, que eles exibem os episódios da semana. I'm just making some propaganda. Se tem crianças na família, é muito legal, bem legal.
My niece loves the show, so thank you.
All right. Muito obrigado.
So are you guys working on any other projects, or is this your main project right now for both of you? Are we working on any other TV or anything else musical?
Not TV. I always work with musical theater.
Okay, so this is just the only one that you've done.
Yes.
Eu acabei de fazer a trilha para um filme longa do Walter Lima Jr., que deve estrear agora no final do ano. Foi o meu segundo longa-metragem, uma coisa densa, um filme quase de terror, de suspense. É uma experiência completamente diferente da leveza do Gaby Estrella. Mas é muito legal, né? A gente tem sempre projetos de fazer junto.
É, isso aí.
Aí-
Bom, em outubro vai estrear um musical chamado Beatles no Céu de Diamante, no Teatro Leblon, que os arranjos são meus, se quiserem assistir. Legal. All right.
Excellent. Okay. All right, and let's see. So, Louis, I had one more question for you. When you're working on horror, which is more fun, horror or the kids?
Oh, the kids.
Okay.
The problem is when we have at the same day to work with both.
You have to shift gears.
You have to shift mentally. Yeah. All right. I think we have time for one more question if somebody wants to ask one. Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys very much. I think that was a great panel. Thank you.
Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Obrigado, gente.
Thank you.